You have this big Norma Rae moment in the film. But talk about that. And we're talking about this as well just today, Amazon Prime Day. There are people who are protesting where? In Poland and Spain and Germany to protest working conditions at Amazon workplaces. And interestingly, this morning, I don't know if you did this deliberately, but you were on CBS this morning. That was deliberate. But they tweeted out their schedule for the morning. And so you retweeted it, because right there at the end it says, Boots Riley discusses Sorry to Bother You. But right before it, they were discussing Amazon's best Prime Day.
Yeah. And of course, I didn't pay attention to that till afterward. But yeah, it's I didn't do that on purpose. But I will say what is happening on purpose is the confluence of what's being talked about in this film and the movements that are growing. And am I wrong to say that the protests are taking the place of taking the form of work stoppages? And I think that's something that's put forward in my film as a tool that we need to use. I believe that since the beginning of the New Left, progressives and radicals have turned more to spectacle and gone away from actually organizing at the actual point of contradiction in capitalism, which is the exploitation of labor, which is also where the working class has its power. And we've we've gone in favor of demonstrations that don't necessarily have teeth, but they show where our head is at. And I feel like we have to give these demonstrations more teeth by being able to affect the bottom line and say, you know, say you can make no money today or you can make less money and give us what we want.
Boots, we've been doing a lot this year on the 50th anniversary of all the various events of 1968, like Juan deeply involved with the Columbia student strike in April of 1968. So you have Danny Glover. He is teaching Youngblood a few things at the telemarketing firm, another telemarketer in your film. But he was one of those 50 years ago protesting at San Francisco State, as was your dad.
Yeah, and that's
Talk about that history.
So Danny Glover and my father, Walter Riley, met at San Francisco State, agitating and organizing being organizers of the San Francisco State strike, not the organizers, but some of them. And so that, you know, that strike created the first ethnic studies program, now school, in the United States. And, you know, so we didn't get it because people passed they did pass the right measures, but they were forced to. And so it's a great, I don't know, 360
Using
spiral.
something other than the white voice to get what they wanted.
Yes, exactly. You know, maybe someone did use that along the way, but they had the backup of shutting down the school in order to force the hand.
If you could talk about the company, you have Regal View, this is the evil telemarketer, and then you've got Worry Free. Talk about Worry Free, and then go on to talk about labor struggles.
It's interesting because, so in the film, there's a company called Worry Free that guarantees you housing and employment for life. And they house their workers in the same place. One way they save money is they house their workers in the same places that they produce whatever they produce. And so, and it's a lifetime contract. So in all extents and purposes, it's slavery. But what's weird is I don't know if that company is illegal right now. It'd be an interesting research topic to see if the company Worry Free that's in Sorry to Bother You is actually legal. However, what I'm a little scared of is that then somebody will try it. You know?